Hey, we're here this evening on Hangout with our lovely Amy and Mr. MrThriveAndSurvive. Hi, guys.
Hi,
Hello, everyone.
everybody. Hello.
Yeah. So, where we find ourselves.
Yeah, we find ourselves in garbage.
Oh, yes. Yeah, everything is so crazy with the lockdowns and everything. It's horrible. And telling people they can even get together during Easter weekend for church services or things like that.
Yeah, they're really trampling on our rights, that's for sure. There
You've
was
got the
a,
right you've got
Yes.
the right channel name at the moment, Mr. Thrive and Survive.
yeah, you,
That's right.
need
Rich.
to go,
I know him as Rich, but his channel is Mr. Thrive.
yeah. That's what my channel started at, was how to prepare for something like this, so maybe I need to go back to it. Actually, I do some live streams on Thursday and Friday. I didn't do it this week because I didn't feel well. But I've been talking more about that, how you can kind of avoid this stuff and be prepared. And I don't know how you have it over there, but these people here, they're still in panic mode. You still cannot find toilet paper in the stores.
Yes.
But do you know
It's
how they
just
really
crazy.
report that? To us right now, it's toilet paper. But in the future, it'll be us queuing for food.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was surprised that people went for toilet paper first. And it took like 2 weeks before I noticed people started waking up and saying, hey, maybe we need food. Because then all of a sudden I started seeing people, certain things on the shelves disappear for food items. And now that's all back, but toilet paper's still gone.
Yes, and I know it's crazy. Yeah, we had to order ours online, and we had to pay a lot of money too, just for the toilet paper. So it's really crazy.
Yes, it is. It's nuts.
Yes. Yeah, we're getting well, my daughter is getting ready to go to the store now and see if she can get something for our Easter, like some eggs or a ham or something, but we just don't know, because the shelves has still been pretty bare around where I live.
Yeah, well, if it's like here,
So,
the food will catch up, but the toilet paper won't.
right,
They're
yes,
calling it toilet
we
paper right
even,
now, but in future, they can just say we were queuing for food. So they're not lying, but they're lying.
Yeah.
that's right.
Well, what kills me is the cure is obviously there, and they won't let us use it. Uh, have you been
Do
talking
you,
over there about the
do you buy into,
hydroxychloroquine?
do you buy into the bit that you can't catch a virus?
No, I actually do buy into it. Um, to me, there's too much anecdotal evidence that, I can't tell you how many times that we would be okay at home, and then one of our kids would come home with a sore throat or something, then all of us would get it. And I don't think
But you
that's,
don't
Yes.
believe that they're bacterial because, like we've been told that things are viruses, and then people have come forward now and said that if you've got a virus, it's because it's coming from inside you, getting rid of toxins and things. So you can't catch one. You're either going to get it, you've got it, you can't catch one. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to go in the stores, you wouldn't be able to touch the food, everybody's touching it, putting it back. No one's wiping the doors as you go through all the time. And then I had another lady who said that putting all those sprays on, the bacterial ones, actually is really bad for your body.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
No doubt about it. Yeah, you always have viruses and bacteria, and it's good and
right.
bad. And when you put on like that, here the big brand is Purell, and that's sold out too with the toilet. In fact, I think that's sold out before
Yes,
the toilet paper, and that's the worst thing you can put on yourself because it'll kill all the good viruses and bacteria that can keep you healthy.
exactly. Yes.
Anyway,
And they're
Amy, just want to ask, so Mr. Fryman survives in Arizona, and where are you, Amy?
I am in Maryland, Baltimore, Maryland. So we're all the way across the country from each other.
Well,
Mr. Thrive
I was
and
born and raised.
Survive.
I was born and raised in Baltimore.
Oh, really?
You?
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Oh, how about that?
yeah. I lived in the Baltimore area
Oh,
my whole life until I was about 42 or so, and then I moved away. I
oh,
lived in
wow.
Perry Hall for a long
Oh,
time.
that's I'm in Parkville.
Oh,
If
okay.
you heard of that, so that's
Yeah,
a
my sister
stone's
lived in
throw
Parkville,
away.
Harford
Oh,
Road area.
really?
Yeah,
Oh, that's right, my neck of the woods.
yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. So, how do you like it in Arizona?
I
I
love it. There's no
bet.
winters to deal
Oh,
with.
I
Yeah, that's
know.
why I came. Yeah, I really like the sun and I like the warmth, and I've got a lot of pain issues and stuff like that. It's just way worse when you have winter.
Yes. Well, how's your weather today? It's very windy and
Oh, it's
chilly
perfect
here
here. Yeah,
in Baltimore.
yeah, I think yeah, it's
Oh,
about 75 and sunny.
oh
So
wow.
you're
Oh,
both from the same neck of the woods then?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
yes.
absolutely.
Oh, it's a small
Mm.
world.
Yeah, it is.
See, we unite people here. We unite people.
That's right.
Yeah, you're about
Yes.
Beltway exit 32, right?
Yes,
Or
exactly.
31? Okay.
Yup. So yeah, the local high school would be Parkville High School, but I went to Towson Catholic High School. So, but yeah, do you follow the Ravens or the Orioles or anything? The
I only,
baseball and
yeah, I love
football.
baseball. I love baseball. That's the only sport I follow, and I follow the Orioles religiously.
Do you?
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
yeah. I
Yeah,
watch every game when they play. Anyway, they're not playing this year, which is
I
a big
know.
disappointment.
Oh, I know. Yes. Oh, well,
Yeah, no sport at all at the moment, is there?
No, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
yeah. So, have you heard about? I've seen videos that is showing military tanks and stuff like that coming and setting up
Can I just
different
say one thing?
places.
Can I just say one thing? I was on a podcasting with Russian Vid yesterday, and he said, when you've got this kind of thing happening, what does a tank mean? It means absolutely nothing.
Yeah, that's right.
So if they're putting that in place, then it's for other reasons, isn't it? They're just lying anyway. It isn't. In the UK, whatever they passed so many days ago took all our rights away. We're basically just a commodity on the obviously stock exchange or something. We don't have any rights right now, and they can do whatever they want.
Yep, same here.
Yeah. Yes. Um, but
What
there
a weird
was,
place to be in, to actually sort of know some of what you're in and you still can't do anything.
I
Yeah. Well, here
know.
it's they've let the states pretty much do what they want. So there's some states that are better than others as far as
Yes.
what you're allowed to do.
Yeah. How is it in Arizona?
It's probably middle of the road. You're allowed to go out and do whatever you want, but they've closed all the restaurants down and things like that. They're open for carry out only,
Yeah.
and they were pretty late, and everybody else kind of closed earlier than we did, but it didn't make any difference. We've got it, but it's not bad, and
Right.
so yeah, there's I mean, I would hate to live in one of these states where they're like curfews or you can't go out at all type of
Oh,
thing.
no.
Except for, what's crazy is, and I'm sure it's the same in the UK, they let you go to the grocery store with 500 other people, and
Well, can I
but you
tell you
can't.
something? Last weekend I went up to London to see my boyfriend, and the story is that don't go up there, only go up there for practical reasons, you know, help the NHS. I just went up there. I didn't see anybody. There was just one person on the first train, one person on the intercity, which is the carriages are longer and they go faster. There was nobody at the station, you know, like there's just a few people, like a couple of people who got off the trains, you know, like there's nobody there. There was no police, there was no nothing. So they tell you one thing, but when you go there, I mean, maybe they were there earlier on. I don't know. Maybe they just wanted to. I just don't know. But there are a few more people on the underground. But there was like I went round London. There was nobody out. Nobody was out. All the pubs, the shops. The only things that were open were things like Pizza Hut. So that's a big organisation. Tesco, Sainsbury's, big organisations. They were the only things open. Everybody else was shut, except the odd restaurant that had tables put out so that you're now back there and they've got masks on and they're taking orders, but there's just a couple of them.
Yeah.
Shut up! The whole of London is quiet. They've got all these cranes. I counted outside Lee's flat, 37 cranes, and a couple of the days, 2 of the cranes were working, just 2 of the 37.
Wow. Yeah, it's really crazy. And but there was a congressman that he used to be a doctor, and he was alarmed to hear that they are having them put down COVID-19 and the death certificates for people, no matter what they came into the hospital for, and they pass away, they put COVID-19. And the congressman, I think he's from Minnesota, he was very alarmed about it. And Ron Paul, he was saying that Trump needs to get rid of Dr. Fauci, or however you say that name, the guy that's the head of the commission, that Dr. Fauci. I saw where Ron Paul was saying that Trump really needs to get rid of him. So, and then I saw something that Trump was going to have a meeting, I think it said Tuesday, to try to get the country reopened. So you just hear all these little pieces of things, and you just it's like a puzzle, and you just don't know what to expect of what's going to happen. So but I just feel really disappointed that they could tell us. There was a governor from Kentucky, I believe, and he was telling the people that we will get through this, and he was making them repeat after him. Sounded like they were in first grade or something, and he was saying, we will get through this together, repeat after me. And then he said, we just need to follow the 10 rules. And it was, don't go anywhere this weekend, and don't go see your family, and don't get go to church, don't do anything.
Oh, can I do something? For the
Yeah.
last couple of days, it feels like everybody is now building something in the garage, and they've all got their paddling pools out and they're all splashing around the garden here.
Yeah.
Because the weather's turned quite nice, because we don't have clouds now. We don't have the planes have what are they called now? I can't remember. They make those clouds, and then those clouds are filling our skies. Without the planes, we have clear skies, and it's quite warm here the last couple of days.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so people are taking advantage of the nice weather, going out and doing things. That's good.
It's like everybody's building something in the garage. You hear
Oh.
or they're mowing their grass or something, doing all the things at home now.
Exactly, that's right.
And the national clap on a Thursday at whatever time it is. They all come out. I opened my window the other day and I shouted out, well, we should have been doing this every week, and you just don't understand, it's all a lie. And then my daughter comes running up, oh, shut up. I said, well, it is a lie. I'm shouting out the window, it's a lie. And they probably now think I'm crazy, never mind.
Well, I'm glad we don't have anything like that here, where the people have to go out and clap or anything. But luckily, I'm in a peaceful neighborhood. The neighbors aren't gonna call the police if they see us go somewhere or
That's
anything.
good, Amy.
People kind of stay to
I'm pleased for
themselves. Yeah,
you.
I have nice neighbors.
Really pleased for you.
So
Yeah.
yeah, you want to have good neighbors at a time like this. Uh, because I see more, and they're even encouraging people to report their neighbor if they are
I
not
know.
doing the right stuff.
Ushervid last night said that it's a bit like maybe it's even going to stop people, excuse me, having, intercourse and stuff because they're going to go, I
Yes.
can't touch you. You're not. I was in the shop the other
Right.
day. This woman said, can I help you? And as she walked towards me, she said, get back, like she was a police officer. I said, you're rude.
That's right. I know. Yeah, my daughter had the same experience. She went to the convenience store and the cashier yelled at her for coming in. And she said, you shouldn't even be coming in here. What's wrong with you people coming into these places? So, yeah, it's really, and then a man got mad at her because she got too close to him for his liking. So yeah, it's just some people, a lot of people around here are just taking it pretty seriously, and they all have their masks
That's the saddest
and
thing.
they're
That's like
all
the fashion statement of now. What's it like? What's it like with
yes.
you, Rich?
Yeah, I'm seeing, I don't know, about 30 to 40% of the people in the stores are out or wearing masks. And I don't know, to me, it shows how easily the people are turned into paranoid people. And
Yes.
you could see the media was building up to this, trying to make people paranoid over it, and they succeeded. And it just shocked me how people just, I don't know, people, like us, you still can't find toilet paper. They're still panicked about it whenever you see it that flies off the shelves. So you got
I
to get there at the right
know.
time. So these people are just, I don't know, they're easily manipulated. Not, I remember seeing on Twitter when this was just starting, it was like, please, Mr. Trump, put a total lockdown on the country so nobody can go anywhere. It's like, do you realize what you're asking?
That's right.
And I don't know. What people don't realize is whenever we go back to so-called normal, the economic consequences of this are going to be absolutely horrendous, unbelievable. This is the
I know, Rich. We're only 3 weeks into this. We've still got our new cars. Give it a few years when we can't afford to buy them, and there's thousands and thousands. I'm unemployed right now. I've lost my work right now, so it's like we're not thinking long term. We're only thinking of weeks, but these weeks will have changed everything.
absolutely.
Yes.
And this was a double hit. Not only was it the pandemic, but at the same time,
Yeah, but
oil
they
went
closed us
from 60
down in a
some
couple
dollars
of
to 20.
days.
Pardon me?
They've closed us down in a couple of days.
Oh, I know. Well, I think it happened a lot more suddenly in the UK. I think they decided to try to go through it without closing anything down. And then all of a sudden they realized, at least on paper, that they should shut it down. At least that's, like I said, from when I started this broadcast here, uh, the hydroxychloroquine is a cure, and they won't let people use it. There's actually governors here in certain states that won't let people use it.
In tonic water, you
Wow.
mean? The stuff that's in tonic water.
Tonic water?
I think
Whatever it is,
it's
a doctor came up and he was a really nice doctor because he just said he couldn't believe what was going on. And the fact that, he looked at this story and it said that this child had died of this thing. But when he clicked on it and went into the story, it wasn't. The mother died and the baby died and they had complications. And the story was totally different to the one they were covering. That one that whizzes past your face and you think, oh, look at that. Oh, my goodness, as you're whizzing through. And he was absolutely horrified. And he was saying that, I can't think what is it quinine, whatever it is. It's in tonic water. Just drink lots of that.
yeah, and
Quinine,
zinc.
and zinc.
Quinine
That's
or
it.
quinine,
Yeah.
quinine. And I think it is like the same ingredient that's in the hydro. How do you say it, Rich?
Uh,
The
it's
hydro. What's the
yeah, it's not
name?
hydro. It's actually hydroxychloroquine.
Hydroxy. Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
zinc is important too, very much.
yeah,
Can
yeah.
I
The
ask,
stuff.
Rich something? A while ago, Rich started this, and it looked quite a difficult thing to do, to have a platform that was like YouTube. But you started something called peopleforpeople.life.
Right.
Wow.
In a way, Rich, it might be a really good time to explain what you wanted that channel to be, or do you think that you just want it more as a message place?
It's actually, I don't even know if it's still up and running. I had to, what was going on was um, people on the other side, so to speak, and I think you know what I mean by that, Karen, the anti-truthers, they hacked into my websites and they made it so they were spamming tens of thousands a day of emails from them. And I fought it for about a month with my internet provider, whatever the domain provider,
No.
and they couldn't stop it. I couldn't stop it. So finally I said, just take it down. Because what they were doing is
Oh,
they were
wow.
blocking all my emails because supposedly my email server was doing it, so they wouldn't let me have emails. So I couldn't live without emails. So I said, just take
Why
them
would
down.
someone want to do that for something that was potentially a really good thing?
You got me. I
Okay,
can't
then.
explain people.
Okay,
Oh,
then we'll move on to that one, because a lot of people right now listening to this podcast won't know what it is. So we'll move on for that one. Rich, have you got any messages that you can give people right now?
Yeah, just what I just said. Prepare for yeah, people for people that life. I just checked it. It's not coming up. Um, prepare for the economic part that's coming. This is going to be, in my opinion, worse than the 2008 crash. And you better start learning how to. There's certain things that you should have. There's something called sprouts, if you know what that is. You can get big cans of they're just seeds, but all you need is water to sprout them, and they're very nutritious, especially if you get something like alfalfa sprouts or something like that. And um,
You're talking about microgreens.
yes, I guess okay, that's a good term. Yeah, but you can grow them fast. Now, like where I live now, I moved since we've been on here last. I have no place to plant
Yes,
anything. I guess
Rich, you have, haven't you? We haven't had to hang out in your new abode.
no, not at all. Yeah, I moved in December, so I bought a mobile home. It was furnished and everything, and it was cheap. So, and I actually love it. It's just me and my dog Charlie, and we have a good time.
oh, that sounds
Yeah,
great.
you got your own privacy there, haven't you?
Yeah, he's laying right beside me right now.
Oh,
But he loves it. I was worried that he wasn't going to like the move and everything because we were with other people and he got the used to him or whatever. But he absolutely was unbelievably happy after we got here. I don't know why, but maybe just because he's
oh,
with me by myself or whatever. But he really enjoys it.
oh, that's
Really
great.
happy for you, Rich.
No,
Yes,
thank you,
that's
Karen.
great.
But the
Yes.
disadvantage is, there, like I said, there's no place to plant anything. But I could probably get some, what are they called? The hanging, not hanging baskets, but a hanging big thing of where you put dirt in and you hang it on a wall, whatever.
Yeah.
As long as, yeah, as long as you put water to it and get it some sun, you can grow some stuff. But just, I don't know, prepare for. I don't know if food is going to be affected at all. I have no idea, but I know
It's
money
really
is going to be
strange.
affected.
You can get everything online, and the supermarkets aren't empty yet, and everybody says that we're waiting for this fall, that the banks are really empty, and they're not telling the truth. But you before this planademic, not pandemic, you were doing many things on your channel. You like doing tests and stuff like that with the moon and what you thought. So where do you go now then? Just asking you as a
Well,
channel.
actually, yeah, that's still actually happening. Um, I work with, I don't know if you heard of Mike Ball. He's a good photographer and he's a flat earther. And we met at a hang up here in Phoenix. And he ended up living like 5 or 10 minutes from me before I moved. He's still close. But he went out and did a video where he shot, there's this big ball. Uh, it's a radar station is what it is, but it's a big, looks like a big moon, a giant ball. And he shot the moon behind it. And the angles of the moon, the sunlight hitting the moon and the sun hitting the ball should match, and they don't. The angles are different.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
Can I tell you something? Rich, I don't know what's going on. When I went up to London. I was standing on this hill called Rose Hill, and it's got a capstone on the top of it, and I'm thinking, this is a pyramid. Anyway, looking out, right, there was a building taller than where Lee lives, but it's quite tall, maybe 30 stories high. The sun had gone. You've got that orange haze in the sky, but you could see that there was light. There was light hitting this building. There was another light hitting the building, like a sun, but it wasn't bright enough to be the sun. But there was another. The sun had gone, but there was still this projection of light on this building.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
In the sky.
Yeah.
Me and Lee both saw it.
What did you think it could be,
I've never
Karen?
seen that before, where you've got this building that's maybe 30, maybe 40 stories high, and on it you can now see the building is got this sort of reflection on it, but the sun has gone.
Wow.
None of the other buildings were doing it. This was the tallest building, but it was because it was all glass.
Do you think it was a satellite or something? Or
what I'm saying is, when the sun's gone past, the light changes. I don't know it just looked like there was light shining on this building, but the sun had gone. Couldn't have been the sun. Like, why is this light just on this building, this one building? It was reflecting.
Yeah. Was that in your video, Karen, that you made? I think
it didn't come out well enough on my phone. My phone just didn't. It wasn't bright enough. Yeah. I know. Me and Lee saw it, but then we're standing on this pyramid as well. Like, nobody knows this is a pyramid. But anyway, I'm uploading a video about that now, because Primrose Hill, to me, that's what it looks like. But yeah, it's just incredible, really. And to be honest, where we are now gets away even more from the truth, doesn't it, really, of what's happening where we live, the whole thing.
That's right. It does.
Because everybody else is in, like, Pamasteria,
Yes.
Honestly, I've never heard. They all came out and were clapping. It was like I heard an eternal clap going on. Like, oh no, the whole of Thatcham's clapping.
Yeah, I overheard that because we were on the phone, Karen, when that happened. I heard all the clapping and banging and stuff. It sounded like they were banging and something. I thought they were ringing bells.
They bring their pots and pans out and bang on them. Ding, 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 ding. Oh.
And then you start yelling at them that
it's not because I don't think the National Health should have a clap for the nurses and the doctors. It's just why they're having the clap. We should have been out there every Thursday at 8 o'clock. There was more people weeks ago than there is now.
That's right.
We should have been clapping every Thursday, Wednesday, whenever it is, Thursday at 8 o'clock, whenever it is. But anyway, they just all come out suddenly and they're clapping. And I have to open my window and say something.
I know. Well, how is Boris doing? I haven't heard any updates.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, I've got to tell Rich about this. I put it on another video. I don't know when it was taken. It could have been taken years ago. But you had Boris in this sort of Turkishy shop, and he was buying a few things, and then they stop him, and he goes, "Well, you have to stick with me because things are going to get so much better." And then he goes outside and they follow him outside and they're having pictures taken with him. Then he gets a lock. He undoes this lock on a bike. The bike is not a modern bike. It's an old bike. I look at the wheel and I think, oh my God, it's bent. The front wheel is bent. Then he very sort of clumsily gets on top of this bike, rides across the pavement, breaking all the laws, and then goes right round the front of this van, which he would not do. He broke all the laws, every law that you could do, and we just watch him cycle off on the pavement, and he goes, and he looks just not right on the bicycle. And that's our Prime Minister riding off on a crammy old bicycle with a warped wheel. He had a warped front wheel. What was he telling us?
I know. Well, yeah, I was surprised because the president couldn't just go into a store like that. You know, he's got to have all the Secret Service and everything. So it was interesting to see him just go into a store and all the people were greeting him
I don't think he
and
must be noticed because the sides of his jacket were up. So it was like, I'm going in here, head down
yeah,
here. And then they started filming him. But afterwards, I thought, was that real? Or did they make, was that all a setup?
I know.
But he rode off on an old bicycle with a warped wheel and he broke all the laws that you could have.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah. How's he doing with his coronavirus diagnosis? Because
well,
while they,
it's different for you lot. You've got a president. I just find it absolutely incredible in the middle of a pandemic that the prime minister is ill.
oh, I know, yeah, because Trump came up negative. He had to test and it came out negative. But I haven't heard any updates about Boris because he was in the intensive care for a little bit, I heard, and I
What do you
guess
think
he's doing
about
okay.
that, Rich? Rich, what do you think about that? Our prime minister has been in intensive care.
I'm hoping he got hydroxychloroquine, and that's why he got out so fast, and he announces it to the world because that'll. If they told the truth about taking that, we could be open tomorrow, because it's been 100%. 100% of the people that have been given this recover, no matter how bad they are.
Yeah. Well, I
But
think
listen,
that
can I tell you something? Listen, sorry, Amy, for cutting
that's
in.
okay.
Listen, the way that I've seen things is it's a bit like when we talk to you Americans, the Americans go, well, you run everything. But when we turn on our news, it doesn't mean that they don't say, here's Britain or UK, whatever you want to call it. But we've always got Trump there. Like Trump runs everything. It's like it's like every country is told something different. We're told what's happening in Spain and Italy, but we're not there to see it. You've just got odd videos, which you don't know whether they're planted as well. Like,
That's right.
what the hell is going on? We've got no rights.
I
So
know.
are you getting the daily Trump briefings and everything over there too?
Well, they're all over YouTube, aren't they?
Yeah, that's true.
And if you wake up, most people aren't watching the television, they're watching YouTube.
Yeah.
And if I want
Yeah.
to go and get a bit of news, I go to YouTube.
Yeah, that's what I do. But I think Trump was pushing for the hydroxy. I can't say the whole word.
Well, maybe he's going to be the savior and save everybody.
Vaccine, but I'm not sure what he's talking about. If he means the vaccine that they're trying to develop, or if they are taking that out of context. But I have heard him pushing for the hydroxy drug, but it's
You know
just
what?
that
When you talk about these names, it sounds some of the things that they're giving the people on death row.
I know. Yeah,
That's an old drug. In fact, I think I had it in the Navy when we went to Africa. They give it to us to prevent us from getting malaria.
yeah, malaria. Yes, I've heard that. Yeah. So,
I mean, do you know what else is coming as well? Hornets, killer hornets are coming now, and they eat everything, and
yes.
they kill the honeybee. Without the bees, we don't have anything. That's the infrastructure of the place we live. We need the bees. And even about them, they couldn't even tell us the truth really in the books. Nobody realizes that bees hover. Just like most people don't even know that.
Yeah, they hover of fly,
Yeah.
instead of flying.
It's like we want to
Yeah,
be educated, but actually we're not.
I know.
So when they hover, I guess,
Wow.
they could just hover in place and the earth should move underneath of them. They could go from
Yeah,
one state to
I'm waiting. Yeah, not just that. When they resonate, right, when they get into the zone, these things can fly maybe up to 50 miles an hour. I mean, I just don't want to be in a way when one's going that fast. Hit some great bumblebee came in yesterday. 5 times it went out my house. I got it out the window, and it went round and it came back again. But anyway, if that
Oh
thing
my
hit me at
God.
50 miles an hour, it'd kill me.
I know.
It's just such a shame that the media have taken over and ruined it completely. They're lying to us all the time.
Yep, absolutely. And the bees have been in trouble for quite a while. Most people, they never talk about it.
Yes, that's right, Rich. We've been noticing that there hasn't been many bees around. What do you think is the reason about the bees?
I think
Well,
one reason is pesticides.
oh, yeah. Some people thought maybe
And
this.
GMO food, maybe the GMO
Yeah,
food.
yeah, that too.
Some people thought maybe the cell towers. That was a thing I heard for a while. The cell phone towers were having something to do with it. I don't know. That was just one of the theories that I heard a couple
Yeah,
of
because it
years
depends
ago.
how they resonate, isn't it? You know, the frequency
Yeah.
they resonate on.
Yes, they were saying
I mean, do
something
you know
like that.
something? Do you know something else, right? A lot of people, right? And you know, you learn these things, and people come to you. But what it was is Victor Schauberger, when he was making his condensed engines, which have been going on since he was with Hitler. He got to meet Hitler and stuff. Basically, this guy watched how birds flew. And so these engines, which we have now in aeroplanes, have come from watching birds. Birds use the electricity in the air. And often when you see them on the pylons or you stop, they're actually recharging themselves.
Yeah,
And a lot of people don't even know that. So it's like, what a world we live in.
I know. Like
We've
everything
got
we
this
were
other thing
taught.
which is not real, and we don't know what's really going on. And the name of it sounds military to me. And we've got all the things that we should know that we don't know.
That's right.
Yeah, that's part of
Uh,
control. You dumb the people down, and then they'll believe anything you tell them.
yes. And
That's that.
yeah.
That's the problem with government taking over the education system.
Yes, that's right.
What's your view
Uh,
on Q then, Rich?
I thought that would come up. I think there's a 100% chance that Q and Trump are connected, and that's all real. However, part of that whole thing is trust the plan. I do not trust the plan.
hmm.
Until I see things, if I broke the law, it would be swift justice. I guarantee you I'd be in jail uh, that day, and it would take probably well, they say the wheels of justice grind slow. That's when it grinds slow after you're in jail, waiting to go see your court date or whatever. These people at the highest levels are committing the most horrendous crimes against humanity, and nothing happens to them. And until I see something happen to them, I don't trust anything. So the question is, even though it all sounds good, until I see something good come of it, I'm not going to believe it. As far as that it's got great intentions, I want to believe it has great intentions, but I'm not there with that. But there is no doubt there's way too many proofs that Trump and Q are connected. The question is there really good behind it, or is it just fooling us so that nobody does anything while they take us all over? That's what I
Yeah.
don't know.
You know, another spin on it, right? Because you obviously think then that, I think they're all a bunch of actors, to be honest, and that they're puppets for something else. That's what it is. But if you look at Trump, he's a businessman now in charge of the corporation.
True. He did do one good thing that the press hasn't talked about. A very good thing. He took the Federal Reserve, the central bank, and he restructured it. He put it underneath the Treasury Department. So, and he's using something, and this gets technical, and this is going to make people not know what I'm talking about, but there's something called special purpose vehicles that he's using. The bottom line is, in about a year's time, all the debt that the country has will be put on the shoulders of the Federal Reserve Bank. It won't be our debt anymore. And the Federal Reserve right now answers to the Treasury Secretary. It never did that before. It was a private corporation, but he restructured it. I guess one of these emergency measures he was able to put in place allowed him to do that. And even the Federal
Now
Reserve Chairman.
I'm going to have a hangout with this person. They were telling me the other day that they got arrested for something, and it was only when they looked at the law side of things. You weren't actually going to court with the country. You were going to court with whatever it was called, universal something or other. And actually what she realised was, that's just like her quick way of explaining it, was that we're a commodity. We've got no rights. We're not humans. We're a commodity.
That's right. That's why anything official always has your name in all capitals. That's your corporate name.
Yeah, that's
That
what
word.
this other person was saying, probably who Karen is talking about, that it's always in capitals because we're the commodity.
It's awful,
Yeah,
isn't
Yeah,
it?
you're
When you really, because even when you think about the slave thing, but actually it really is. We're a bunch of
oh, it's absolutely
slaves.
slavery. Yeah, and when you're born, the birth certificate is a stock certificate. Really, that's the best way to look at it. And you just became a piece of stock for the corporation of the country you're in.
yes, yeah, that's what Karen was
Mm.
talking about. Just that's awful. But I did hear when you were talking about the Federal Reserve, Rich. I did hear that
Oh,
that
good.
Trump
Somebody else has heard.
restructured. I did
Yeah.
hear it. I guess I saw it on YouTube, and that is a great thing because the Federal Reserve is really, I think that's the huge heart of all the problems. Is that Federal Reserve, and they were private, and for them to have to answer now to Treasury, yeah, that's a great thing that he restructured it. So I'm glad you brought that up because I had forgotten
But you know
about it
what they like
because we
doing?
don't
They
hear.
like making the drama, and then when they change the law, they tell you what they're going to do, and they get what they want because they think you think
Yeah,
you're getting it to protect you, but in reality, they made everything happen, and now the answer is to put in the laws that they want.
Yeah, that's what I worry about with
yeah,
this pandemic. I really worry about that.
me
And I'm really
too.
worried about how easy the people are just willing to say, okay, whatever you say, we'll do it.
Do you know what's crazy, Rich? Amy knows that we watched month in, month out with around that Watts case. You can go there, Crime Watch, whatever they are. They pow out every day, video after video about how this person killed this person or who was involved, whatever it was, whether it was about this or that. And it makes it look like we're this really gross, horrible set of people that are always murdering each other. But the thing is, it's not true. Look what they did in a couple of days. We surrendered in a couple of days. The
I
whole world.
know.
Yep, absolutely. I agree with that.
We're
Yeah,
peaceful people. Even you've got
exactly.
guns. You're peaceful
Oh
right now.
yeah. And I just said, aren't we all good little good little soldiers? We're being so obedient to stuff, listening to everything they're
I
telling
wasn't. I was
us.
a bit of a rebel. I went
Yeah,
up to
you
London
were a
last
rebel.
weekend. I was a rebel.
Yeah, Karen risked life and limb to get into London.
I did.
She did.
But you know what? There was no one there. There was no one there was like, it is a bit freaky when you go to one of the biggest train stations in the country and there's only a few people in
Oh,
it.
I know.
And it's
Yeah,
rush
that
hour. So we're
is.
talking of 6:15 at night. It should be heaving with people trying to catch their trains.
That's been one blessing is the lack of traffic. I really like that.
I know. Yes, but Karen, you said there weren't police or anything around, or even
No, but
anybody
they were
to
telling
collect a
everybody, because
ticket.
what it was is I got there when suddenly they said, "You went up to London. Did you do that for? You could have been arrested. It could have been £650 fine. You're only supposed to go up there if it's an absolute necessity." I
Oh,
get that. I didn't see no one.
yeah,
No police. No. There was a few people, like now when you walk around, I'm sure it's the same in the USA. You've got guards everywhere, building guards. They're just these people walking around a bit, with jackets on. We did never have that
yeah,
before. And now they're wherever, like suddenly think, oh, look, guards.
Yeah, I haven't
yeah,
seen that yet, thank God.
yeah. Me neither.
Well, I did in
But
London. I just
yeah,
couldn't believe it. We went out and like this pub, which should be heaving with people, shut up. No one's on the roads. There's just a few people mulling around the roads. And the really crazy thing, but I'm glad it was, because otherwise I would have been able to have gone to London. The buses and the trains, even if they closed the program down a bit, less trains, less buses, were still running. All of them with like 2 people on them. Not a bus leaving with them, just a couple of people. Like, they're still running.
I know. Yeah, so somebody said
what I
if
mean?
it's just
Come to a complete standstill and the public transport's still going.
yes, that's right. I just
You know what? I wonder whether life is. It's a bit like there's the curtain, and then it's Trump or whoever goes, right, everybody's economies are sad, aren't they? And then they turn around and they go, we've hit the bottom, we've hit the rock bottom. Because, you know, suddenly the mortgage is going to pay for your mortgage for 3 months. You can get a holiday one. And, you know, it's a bit like, wow, we can almost live free right now. Everybody, we can live free. Our whole economies are on the floor. All the little shops have closed up. There's nobody out in the streets. No one's working, and everybody thinks we can have it all for free. So if we can, what is going on?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, not only that, but here you get a starting next week. Everybody's going to start getting a $1,200 check in the mail, right in their bank account.
Yes.
Is this what the bank accounts are for in our names?
Well, if you don't have a bank account, they're supposed to mail you a check.
Yeah, but they can. What I mean is, they get the money out of your bank account on your birth certificate. Because you see, a lot of people don't realise it. In another way to explain it, right? I didn't realise this, but this is David Giamatti, I think. He was explaining that basically, when you take a mortgage, the mortgagees take a life cover out on you, and when you die, they get that money. So not only have they got the birth certificates, they've got all these life covers which are always bringing in money.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so you're saying the 12.
That none of us realise that they've taken out all these policies in our names and bank accounts in our names.
Yeah, I never realized it.
But see, what you're talking about is it always goes back to the bankers.
Yes.
You can trace all the evils back to them, I'm convinced.
Yes.
Yeah, this lady on this video last night, she's going, follow the money, just follow the money trail.
Yeah.
You know, and
that's all, usually the answer. Follow the money. That's right.
And they create it. The banks, you know, the Federal Reserve, they just create it and charge us interest on it.
Hey,
but they never create the interest, so it has to fail. Yeah.
I've got something else to tell you. Listen to this, right? With Lee, I was watching this thing about Elizabeth I, and they brought up this map and they stuck it on this program, and it's got the 4 rivers on it, and it got Greenland on it. And Greenland, when they made this map, was only a little bit bigger than England, but it lies in sort of the opening of one of the river opens. You know, there's 4 of them, and it lies in the sort of in front of one of them. And then what I realised, what they've done is they've taken that piece of land, which is Greenland, which is where obviously everybody lives. They've taken that and they put the 4 rivers on it, now covered it, because on a map today, Greenland is the same size as Canada and America. But the real Greenland is only a bit bigger than England and Scotland put together. And then behind it is the 4 rivers. I don't know what they've done to, because they've made it, it's the 4 rivers. It's on my channel. It just came to me from this map that's what they've done.
Yeah.
The real North Pole is in Greenland. Well, this extra piece of the 4 rivers is now Greenland. It's on in there. This is why you could never pinpoint the North Pole, because they'd ever want you to realise it's on this thing they're now calling Greenland. 4 rivers and Greenland.
Yeah, I've seen other videos about that where they talk about how even like Google Earth or whatever, they always show you something fake about Greenland. It's not right.
Well,
I mean, for all we know, because the way I've looked at it, right, is in the place we live, there are hot places and there are cold places, because someone lives, Mikey, he lives in the middle of Canada, but quite high up. In the winter, it's freezing, you know, it's minus whatever. But in the summer, they do get weeks of 40 degrees. When do they ever explain that North Canada gets up to 40 degrees? And then when you go over to sort of Lithuania, which is by Russia, in the summer, these people go to the sea. They go to the Baltic Sea and they have 2 or 3 weeks there, maybe 6 weeks there, and it gets into the 40s. We don't get 40 degrees. Sorry, can you hear that? Somebody's microphone. I think it's your microphone. Someone's microphone's making a noise. But anyway, they get this really hot weather. We don't go up to the edge of Scotland and go on sit up there with deck chairs. So there are hot places and there are cold places. So you don't know what's at the Four Rivers bit because we're not allowed to go there.
That's right.
In the globe world, it's so cold and desolate, no one goes there.
Right.
But it could be the Bahamas.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's right.
Do you know what? I also couldn't believe it on research. When you go to Greenland, I just looked Greenland up and the pictures came up. And in the summer, they have weather quite like the UK. They just don't have it for so long. And in it, their temperatures might even get up to the 20s. And you're like, what? We're talking about Greenland. And these pictures came up and they'd been in the sea. And then what it is there's an island above the Shetland Islands, which is now quite north, like up where Iceland is up there. And it's called the Faroe Islands. And a lot of people don't know that the Faroe Islands their sovereignty is owned by Denmark. So people from those two countries can go to school in Denmark. Anyway, the Faroe Islands will look like Lord of the Rings land, but basically they were also in t-shirts and they're hundreds of miles away from England up north. So we don't know the truth of where we live. There's just hot place. If you went to the Andes, it's really cold.
Yeah.
If you go to Everest, it's really cold, but it's in a hot country.
I know.
So Antarctica isn't what it is because they could just be taking you to the Andes or the Alps or Everest. You wouldn't know any different, would you? Because we don't know where we're living and where there's hotter and colder and whatever land.
I know. And they don't want us to find out either,
No, so now the grief-stricken the community. Rich, what do you want to say?
No, nothing. I'm just listening. I agree with it. We all know about the problems with Antarctica. Nobody ever goes there by treaty. And like you said, they could just take you down to the Falkland Islands and say, okay, here it is, Antarctica.
Right. That's right. We wouldn't know. Because we can't.
Anyway, whenever they're talking about Antarctica, do you know where they really sound like they're talking about? Greenland. Not the bottom bit, the top bit. It's like there's just things that I've noticed. Like this Russian guy, even though he was quite near Antarctica, his compass still pointed north. I just think they're being taken to Greenland. And then I was talking to someone, I'll never know whether it was true. He was called Mikey something or other. And he told me this person had gone to Antarctica. So basically, when we were talking to them, it was the summer, which I'm not saying it gets ever so hot there because we don't even know what it is, but the places they're talking about. But it would have been the best time to take the ships, everything. And he said it's really bad, it's really cold. And I'm thinking, well, Antarctica wouldn't be, well, it would be cold. It's going to be cold down there, supposedly. But he wasn't talking about Antarctica. He was talking about Greenland, where it would be cold.
Oh, wow.
That's what I think. That's what I thought, anyway. When I'm thinking, they're never ever really talking about Antarctica. They're always talking about maybe that cold bit if the Four Rivers is frozen up there. They're talking about somewhere else.
Yeah. I know. It's really intriguing. And I don't.
It's so peaceful. None of us have broken any of those things. They've got all these places, in space, and there everybody's at peace, and there's all these people there. We don't break any of those things. We're sort of in a cocoon, aren't we?
Yes, that's right.
Probably best to be MrThriveAndSurvive's dog. He doesn't care at all.
Oh,
he's something scared him. He never comes up on my lap unless he's scared, and he's shaking. What's the matter, huh?
Has he come to tell us the truth? Tell us the
truth. That's right. Yeah, I look at, we have cats, I look at the cats and they just nothing's bothering them too much,
Who's
except for
noticed that the birds are waking up about 3:30 in the morning? I mean, that is actually in
yes,
equinox time, in the middle of June or the end of June. It will be getting light at 3:30 in the morning here, right? But these birds are
yes,
awake like a couple of hours before light now.
yeah.
Yeah.
That I've noticed that too. Yes.
I never
Sometimes,
noticed it before. I've sat here many a night making a video till the morning, but now they're awake. They're awake when they shouldn't be awake. I don't know if anybody else has
yeah,
noticed
we
that.
noticed it a lot, and yeah. In fact, it gets on my daughter's nerves because they're too loud, and she's trying to sleep, and she'll actually be saying, "Shut up, birds! You're supposed to be asleep right now." So
Is
yeah,
it the
we
same for you,
definitely
Rich?
notice it
Have you
uh,
noticed that, Rich?
about the
Yeah,
birds.
they'll start about an hour or hour and a half before any light that we can see anyway. I hear that birds can see light before we can, but I don't know. And it's almost the same here,
Maybe they
Karen.
always were.
What's that?
Maybe they always did it, but I'm just noticing. Maybe they were always waking up like that, but I don't remember it like that. I remember that when the light came, then the birds started making a noise just before the
Yeah.
light came. But
Yeah,
just before.
well, if you've ever been around a rooster, they'll start crowing before you can see light.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
So
but we're
I've
talking of 3:30 in the morning. It might not be getting light for another couple of hours. Like I just thought, other people are mentioning it as well that they've
well,
noticed.
yeah, we've heard it at 12 o'clock, midnight, and 1 o'clock, and hours like that. And I saw a comment, Karen, on your channel where somebody had written that the birds that they're hearing the birds at like 1:15 in the morning and everything.
oh
That
geez,
is
that's not
pretty.
right.
Yeah, that's how we have it here. I know
If they're messing
here,
up with frequencies, in this whatever, we're not allowed to talk about it. But
right.
that thing, they could be messing around with the frequencies, and then the birds just think, oh, it's wake up time.
I know. Yeah, that's a good point. But because they used to start chirping around 3:30 in the summer, I used to
Yeah,
notice. But
because the light is
now it's like,
coming that time in the morning.
yeah, right. But now it's like I said, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. You start hearing them, and sometimes even earlier
Maybe what
than
it
that.
is maybe they were always there, but now when you wake up, you're listening to different things, and now you hear the cosmos for what it is. I don't
That's
know.
true. That could be too. That's right. Yes.
Have
It's
you noticed
hard to
the
be awake
dog
because,
barking a bit more? At certain times of the day, I can hear these dogs barking. Maybe it's because the families are home. I don't
oh,
know.
yeah.
My state, where I never heard anything, but now quite regularly I can hear dogs barking.
Yeah. Well, we have a good bit of dogs, around, but definitely because the people are home more, they're probably barking more. I think the dogs probably like having the people at home. I see that those comical memes, like on Facebook, and it said the cats are not too happy
Yeah,
because they're not
some
as
of us though. Like
compan.
I'm pretty sure Amy doesn't go out that much. I went to work
No.
when I'm not working, so and I stayed in anyway quite a lot. I think Rich is the same. So this thing about making us stay in our houses doesn't affect me the same, but it is different now because supposedly you're not allowed to go out now.
Right. That's what makes me
That's the bit I
upset.
don't like.
Yeah, I don't want to be told if I want to stay home, and I don't even mind staying home, but I don't want to be told I have to stay home.
Rich has got an
And
excuse. He's got a dog as cover because he needs to take the dog out.
I know that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know why he's scared that we have a storm coming through.
Oh, is there a storm
Yeah,
coming
he doesn't
through?
like loud noises.
Oh. 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 He looks like a really sweet
Yeah,
dog.
he is. He's the best dog I
Well,
ever had.
The chair
oh,
looks comfortable, Rich.
What's that?
Your chair looks nice and comfortable.
I
Yeah, it is. It's a nice
know.
chair. This came with the
Oh,
place, so I was glad.
oh, that's really nice.
So
Oh,
we've been going for nearly an hour. I wondered, Amy and Rich. Well, I'll start with Amy because ladies first. But what's your message to everyone then, Amy?
I just say, everybody, try to stay calm about everything that's going on, but also be alert. We can't trust everything we see or most of what we see on mainstream media. So just be alert and keep yourself informed, and try to check out the truth channels on YouTube, because that's where you're going to hear the most truth. And just keep your faith in God, and God is still in control. And just try not to be overtaken by the fear. If they come out with a vaccine for this thing, please don't take the vaccine, because it's not going to be good for you at all, and you don't want to take it. And so just try to stay calm and trust God, and don't be afraid, and take your tonic water and your zinc for your immune system, and just take care of yourself, and just trust that God will take care of all of this,
Oh,
and
Amy.
just stay prayed up. Yeah, just stay.
Beautiful, beautiful Amy. She's always
Oh,
beautiful.
oh, oh, thank you,
No,
beautiful
beautiful
Karen.
Amy. Rich,
Oh, thank you.
Thrive and Survive. What's your message for everyone?
Well, I couldn't say it better myself than what Amy just said. The only thing would add to it is when everything seems to be going back to normal, that's when you can go out and prepare for an economic downturn. And there's nothing to fear with that either, as long as because nobody else will be panicking. And then the next time, if they panic, you're all prepared. So that's the only thing I would add. And
That's right.
that's a beautiful message, Amy. I couldn't say it better
Oh,
myself.
thank you. Thank you, Rich. And that's a great point too, to get prepared when it all settles
Also,
down.
I'm just hoping
To
as
be
well that,
prepared.
Mr. Thrive and Survive is a much bigger channel than mine, but just hopefully that we get the little people and the big people and we're together and yeah, the people are talking.
Yes, that's right. And keep the people talking. That's right. Because we need to be able to talk and share our opinions and ideas, and
I still think it's really
we're
cool what they
social
did to us though.
people.
It made us go into this
Yeah,
materialistic world where we were having debt on our shoulders and telling us how wonderful it was and things were only going to get better, to then just chop our legs off. So whoever's now
yeah,
not working has got debt anyway. And do you know what, Rich? I rang up the bank the other day because I said I was actually angry. I said, "Will you stop putting the charges on my bank account right now?" And I said I'm not working. This woman said, "I'll put £100 in your bank account, and then we're not going for bank charges from this date." When has the bank ever put money in your account?
For real.
I
Wow.
know. I know.
That's
That
amazing.
was Yes. That
It
was a
wasn't going to save my
blessing.
life, but they put an amount of money in my bank account. Like I was like, what?
Yeah, for real.
I know, you never hear that.
I guess it ended
That's
the anger pretty
awesome.
quickly.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've really
Oh,
enjoyed both of yours company, and
oh,
quite
me
Yeah, same
incredible
here.
that
too.
you both come from the same state.
I
Yeah.
know. Well,
Yeah.
I'd
But
rather be
Amy,
in
Amy,
Arizona. It's warm there. Yes, Karen.
thank you so much for joining the
Oh,
Unscrambled and Bamboo.
thank
And also
you.
I wanted to say thank you to Freddie who made my banners for me. Now the
Oh,
intros, I've got two of them.
yes,
I love them.
me
I love them
too.
much. But anyway, thank you, Amy, and
Oh,
thank
you're
you, Mr.
welcome.
Yeah,
Thrive and
thank you
Survive.
both. I had a good time.
Thank
Oh,
you, Rich.
thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, then. So, mwah, mwah, to the people who are here and mwah, to the chat room. Thank you.
Oh,
Bye, everyone.
bye, everybody.